I thought it was time we had another chat because we haven't done this for a few weeks at least. And I was going to start work on a new project today. I had everything kind of in my head all planned. And then a few people commented about things that I'd done wrong on the video of this Neil interview recorder. And of course, you can't let something go out that's got faults, mistakes, errors in it. So I re-edited it, and then I put a re-edited version out. And then I looked at that, and then I spotted a couple of things myself that I thought, that wasn't very good. Could have done that better. So I've re-edited it and re-uploaded it, and we're up to version 5 now. But that's all down to the help of people on Patreon, because if it wasn't for you, I'd put some rubbishy half-baked thing out that then people would complain about and point out all the inaccuracies in. So yeah, please keep doing that. If you see something that I've said wrong, then let me know, because I'm no expert, as I pains to point out. I'm just some chap who sort of plays around with stuff. The people who watch this tend to know an awful lot more about these things than I do. And out of, 300 odd patrons or something, I'm not quite sure, there's a lot of knowledge there that I just don't have. So yeah, if you spot something that I've said wrong, let me know before it goes live, and then we can all fix it together. So yeah, a lot of the reason for this video being better, vast majority of it, is down to people passing on their knowledge that I just don't have. So yeah, thanks for that. But as a result of me re-editing it 4 times, I suppose, because I did the first one and then 4 afterwards, today's a bit of a washout. So instead I thought what I'll address a couple of things that have come up over the last month or so since we last did this. It might be longer than that. I printed a few things out here. Yeah, old school. I'm on paper here. I do have an iPad Pro that I really like and I use for reading magazines and things. In fact, it's probably my most used computer when I'm not editing. But it's been pretty much broken for about 8 months now. Half the screen won't respond to touches, so you end up rotating it to press things, and I ended up stop using it. I've been dying for them to bring out a new one, because I'm not going to buy an old one just before a new one comes out. But it's been a long time. So anyway, I normally have this on an iPad Pro, and I'd sort of have all the pictures and things, but I've ended up printing them out. But nice to have something tactile to hold on to anyway. So my plans for this one, let me just try and get something up here. Got a bit of a folder. Right, okay, so the one thing I meant to mention about the pre-release videos that, they go out on Patreon and then sometimes they're edited, fixed and messed around with before they go live. As a result of that, if anyone comments on the video on YouTube before it goes live, there's a very good chance that that video is going to be deleted and replaced with a better version, which means your comment also gets deleted. So I'd advise against commenting on YouTube. It's better to comment on Patreon. Just something, I mean, do it if you want, but I'm just warning you that your comment might get deleted. I feel a little bit awkward about doing that sometimes, so word of warning. Right, first thing, I quit Twitter a couple of weeks ago. It's not like a big deal, is it? Oh, I quit Twitter. It's like sort of I've stopped drinking or something. No, it's I never quite got Twitter. It never worked for me how other people who got it working for them seem to have it working for them, if you know what I mean. What I'm saying is, it didn't fit in with what I was doing. I'll tell you about the thoughts that went behind this, and it's not like some kind of rage quit, and I'm not trying to tell everyone else to quit. I'm just explaining why it didn't work out for me in the long run. Of course, initially I went on Twitter to secure my username. After all, I didn't want someone else going on there as Techmoan, because someone had done that previously on Facebook. I had no interest whatsoever in Facebook. I don't care what any relatives are doing, or anyone I went to school with is doing, or anyone that I've ever worked with is doing. I'm pretty antisocial in that regard, but I consider it not being nosy. I just don't care about what your kids are called or what's going on with you today. It's not my business. That's what I think. I'm one of those people that always think, well, it's not my business, that's somebody else's business. So they put it all up on there, and of course I'm not going to read it. So yeah, I've never been on Facebook. It hasn't appealed to me at all. And the feeling that you'd probably have to keep updating it and make yourself look really interesting to other people and stuff, just not my scene. So by not being on it, somebody took the username Techmoan. I thought it was a big deal. I know this because the missus is on Facebook, so she noticed this at one point, and people were asking this person questions, and they were kind of posing as me. They'd took pictures off my website, the logo at the top and things, and effectively they were sort of pretending to be me, which was caused. I thought, that's not so good. I don't mind sort of somebody doing a tech channel, but don't pretend to be me. So, and I think they were securing, I might have mentioned this before, like review products from companies, because companies, of course, were getting in touch. Hi, we've got a new dash cam. Do you want to review it? And they were sending this person messages, and I've got a feeling they were kind of taking these things. In fact, at one point, somebody got in touch with me and said, when are you going to do that review on a camera that we sent you? And I said, you haven't sent me a camera. And they said, oh yeah, we have. And I've got a feeling it went through this chap on here. So yeah, after that happened, I thought, well, Facebook, I lost out. I filed some kind of report at one point to try and get this person taken off, and I think I managed to, but I think somebody else came back and did it again, but it's not my business. But yes, as a result, I thought, well, when Twitter came out, I'll make sure I've got my username on there. So you start off with that, and you've got a username. And you think, well, what do I do with this? Of course, to start with, you follow various people. Again, because this kind of non-nosiness aspect to me, I didn't really have anyone to follow. So I followed a few tech channels, the big ones, and like blogs, and over the time I probably got up to like 50, 60 different things that I followed, not so many. And a few people I'd come into contact with through doing these videos. But so I use it to sort of read what they were doing, and when it's somebody kind of an individual person, like there's a guy called Andy who repairs TVs and stuff. I know he's not on Patreon, but he's on Twitter. He's a nice chap, and I've spoken to him a couple of times, and he's helped me out with a couple of things, and I think we've sent things to each other. So yeah, I followed him, and he posts some quite interesting little things that he's come across. He collects electronics records and stuff. So it's all right if it's somebody who's kind of not so big. I always noticed that nobody ever responded to his things, or 2 or 3 people did. He had like 100 followers or something, but I was quite interested in seeing what he was doing. But of course, because I'm on there, I started getting quite a few followers. And the last time I looked, it was like 12,500 people. So for anything I put out there, went to 12,500 people. And amongst those people, there'd be a couple of people that would repost these things and say, oh, look at this, to the people that follow them. And of course, those people sometimes wouldn't get the context, and they would then like be complaining about these things and disagreeing with them, and oh, it's rubbish, why would anyone want to do, that kind of negativity type thing. So I found that whatever I posted ended up kind of causing a load of negativity. Now, just going a bit off topic here, you might know I've got loads of things wrong with me medically. I mean, I'm not talking like I'm going to die tomorrow, but loads of kind of constant medical issues that are never going to get fixed. And to me, I have to stay positive, because if I start thinking about all these things that don't work properly, it gets me a little bit down. I think everyone's got a bit of a prone to depression type of thing, but you would if you start thinking about all the things that you can't do, and things that you wanted to do, and things that aren't working how you want, and then what the future's going to be like when these things get worse and stuff. So I try and surround myself with positivity, just myself being positive about things and shrugging things off my shoulders. One of the things somebody said, a doctor at one point, you don't like get any stress, it's not good for you. So one of the reasons I do this is for that reason. And I just try and let everything kind of flow over. It doesn't matter, don't worry about it, But I noticed whenever I posted anything on Twitter, it was always followed by a massive wave of negativity, people complaining about it, or complete indifference. So I'd spend a couple of hours, I'd sort of get a video clip or something, compress it down, put it maybe into a GIF, put a comment with it, put that up, think, oh, this will be fun, people will enjoy this. So a couple of hours gone there, and like nobody noticed, or like 2 or 3 people with like 4 thumbs up or something. I'm thinking, well, it's 12,000 people here, so I'm saying the wrong thing. These people don't want to know about this. So then I sort of kept trying to adjust the message, or maybe they want sort of jokes, funny things, or observations, or whatever. And whatever I tried, all the different things that I tried, nobody was interested in, or everyone disliked. Those were the 2 options I got, and people argued with. A lot of, just as soon as you do anything, everyone argues against it. So you start thinking, well, why am I even bothering doing this? What's the benefit? Now, the reason for Twitter, for say somebody who's a mega celebrity, like think of whoever you want, Kanye West, somebody, not that I'm not bothered about them, but somebody like millions of followers, that kind of person. So say a musician, they say, my new album is out on Monday, you can buy it here or whatever. Put that out, that's going to generate them some business, some buzz, some interest, that kind of thing. To me, what would I be putting out? My new video is just out. Well, the 12,500 people are already following me on YouTube, and I've got 700 odd thousand subscribers on there. So another 12,000 people aren't going to affect the numbers, but those 12,000 aren't new people. Those people are out of the original 700,000. So the hope then is that, say I've got a new video out about this cassette recorder or something, maybe it gets retweeted, so that then an audience sees it that wouldn't normally see it. That's the ideal. But things were getting like 5 or 10 retweets. And I think the people that were going to, that were reading them, well, I looked at sometimes the people who'd retweeted these, and they had like 10, 12, 15 followers and stuff. So it's not getting to a massive audience. Your best thing that could happen would be a mega celebrity sees your thing and then retweets it. But that's never going to happen. That's ridiculous. It's like trying to win the lottery. So it wasn't achieving anything. So it was bringing in a load of negativity. It was taking up time, and it wasn't achieving anything. So of course, being analytical, you think, well, hold on a minute, this just doesn't make any sense. So I deleted my account, and it hasn't affected me. One of the reasons is because I went back in, made a new account, anonymous account, and just followed the people I was already interested in from the first time round. So I can see the things that they're getting on with, but nobody knows that I'm on there anymore, and I don't need to post anything. Also, by having a visible account, TechBone, people used to send me a lot of stuff, but it was always rubbish, because it was always popular stuff that had been in a million places beforehand. So that, yeah, there were no benefits to it. However much I thought about it, I thought, no, I just can't see any benefits. The only thing I'm worried about now is somebody's going to use my username. So I've sort of put a thing in the calendar. I think once every month I sign in and then deactivate the account again, because it says you've got to use it every 30 days. And I think if I might carry on doing that. I'm not too sure. I might just give up and let someone use it who'll then pretend to be me. Anyway, so that was why I've quit Twitter. It just didn't work for me, and I couldn't find a way to make it work. Right. Okay, now, all right, that's nice. Okay, I've got a few comments here, actually. I wanted to talk about those in a minute. But the next thing that I wanted to mention is about a Macintosh Portable. Now, the old Macintosh Portable, the original one, a kind of big thing, the first one with a LCD screen, based on like the Apple Mac Classic, that kind of Mac SE type of thing. I always quite fancied one of those. I don't think I was ever going to use it. I just quite like the look of it. And I had this idea that it would be quite a funny prop for one of the puppets to use at some point, because they always use old computers. It just seemed like an amusing thing to put in there. And maybe if I got one, I could have a play around with it, see if I could get it working, all that kind of stuff, and probably lose interest in it very quickly. But at least I'd have a prop at the end of it. So I ended up ordering one from a chap on eBay in the US. And it cost me $288, which was actually really good, because these things sometimes go for like $1,000 and stuff. He said he didn't have the charger for it, and it would probably need a new battery. Ideal for me, I'm just using it as a prop. So I ordered it from him, nice chap, sent it through the, there's an international, sort of, I forgot what it's called, system. I thought it might say it on here, Global Shipping Program, which is on YouTube. I don't know if everyone knows about this. Let me just have a drink, my throat's going dry. But if you're in the US and you send something to me in the UK, you could do it yourself, or you could do this global shipping program which sends it on to Erlanger or something, and then they send it on a big plane or whatever. It works out. The duty and the VAT and things get charged up front on this, so it's a lot better than sending it the other way, where I get a card through and the items be retained by customs and I have to go through all that process. So anyway, he did all that, great. So I was sort of following this thing on the tracking. You get a tracking. I could see it had gone to this distribution centre. And then it kind of stuck there for a few days. I'm thinking, well, what's going on? So I ended up getting this message a couple of days later. And this came from the Global Shipping Program people. We're writing to inform you that your recent purchase through the Global Shipping Program can't be completed. The item in question has been classified as restricted. This could be due to import/delivery restrictions or eligibility requirements within the Global Shipping Program. This item will not be sent on to its final destination and will not be returned to you. Don't worry, we'll send a full refund to your original payment method within 72 hours. And it says you may notice 2 refunds, one for the item, one for the import costs, etc. No further action is needed. We apologise for any inconvenience this may cause or may have caused. Right. So yeah, it got to this place. It seems like it wasn't allowed on a plane. As a result, they've refunded me. They've also, the chap originally paid, he doesn't have to refund me. He's still got his original payment, I think, for this. At least I think he has. Because they're not sending it back to him either. It's just gone. That's the end of it. He got in touch with this chap, says, I got this message through, what's going on? I said, so I wrote back, I said, I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? I said, I've ordered loads of things from the US, including laptops, etc. Got through no problem. This is the first thing that this has ever happened to. But yeah, this Mac Classic laptop thing made its way to this place, and seemingly they've destroyed it. Nobody's going to have it now. It's a shame, isn't it? Like a bit of classic computing history just gone. My best guess is that because it's an electrical item that's like a laptop that doesn't function, maybe they thought that somebody could have put a bomb in it or something and wouldn't let it on a plane. I really don't know. I mean, of course, most of the things I buy don't work and come from abroad, so that's never happened before, but it's the weirdest thing. I just wanted to share it with you because it's a bit of a sad story. There's this old Mac portable now that's probably been destroyed somewhere and no one's allowed to have it. Very odd. That's right, so the next thing, based off the first one where I was talking about quitting Twitter, and I mentioned that I had trouble trying to figure out what to post on there, and I also got a lot of kind of nonsense back that wasn't really helping anything. One of the things that I tried doing for a while was posting unusual things that I saw about my channel, comments I got, things that I found kind of interesting or odd or funny, because of course I am in the public eye in a kind of very minimal sense. So as a result, I get a lot of interactions and things that normal, just Joe Blogs type of person wouldn't get because they're not putting themselves out there. So I get a lot of weird interactions, and I just wanted to share some of those because it's like sort of pulling back the curtain really and saying, look, this is the kind of thing that you get if you end up getting a reasonably medium-sized YouTube channel. I don't want to overblow it, but you know, as a result of getting a YouTube channel that quite a few people watch, you get some weird stuff coming in. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, when I did that, I always got the same kind of response. For example, I put a comment up like this. Let me just... this was one that I found the other day. This is the kind of thing that I would have put up. Let's try and get this thing working. Right, okay, I'll read this. Please not rather we should hope Techmoan finally dies. One of the biggest I pretend to know stuff while having no clue and make lots of mistakes in my videos, idiots on YouTube. Okay, didn't make any sense, but you get the idea. Let's hope the tech moron finally dies. Yeah, so you kind of know most people wouldn't get that kind of interaction. I do, and that's the kind of thing that I would have posted. Say, look at this, a bit odd, isn't it? And as a result, people would always come back on Twitter and say, "Oh, don't worry about the trolls. Ignore the trolls. We like your videos, etc." Which is all nice, but it's not. That wasn't the point. I wasn't there trying to say, "Oh, I'm very sad about this. It's really got me down. I need some moral support." It's more like, "Hey, look at this. Isn't this weird?" And that's what I was trying to. And you can't kind of get that feeling across. And it was a bit like somebody, you know, like a person say, an old person go, "Oh, there's a man robbing the house," and they go, "Oh yeah, that's very nice, dearie. Hope you're all right. Look, you calm down. No, look, he's taking the television. Yeah, all right, dearie. Don't worry about it." You know, that kind of annoying thing where it's a bit like we get these pantomimes in the UK where somebody's like, "He's behind you," and the person goes, "No, I don't think there's anyone there." You know, it's that really frustrating. But I kind of get that same level of frustration. I'll be going, "Look at this. This is funny," and everybody will be, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not. No, I don't. I'm not worried. Just read the thing. It's a funny thing. Yeah. Just ignore it. You know." So anyway, it's that kind of thing. So yeah, that was one. I had another one here somewhere. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, this guy. Blow your nose. I get that quite a lot. Obviously, I sound nasal, and the reason is I can't breathe through my nose, and so I have to breathe through my mouth all the time. Now I can just sort of just about, but it's all blocked, and it's sinus issues. I've got a problem that cannot be fixed. And so I wrote back to this bloke, said, take it you also shout at people in wheelchairs and say, get up and walk, you know, because there's nothing I can do about this. People just inconsiderate in a way. They're just, oh, I'd love to be able to talk properly and breathe through my nose. Trust me, I could taste food and smell things, but I can't. So it's like somebody reminding you about your disability. I always think about somebody, say, that's had their arm amputated or something. And I wonder how many people sort of say, oh, what happened to your arm? Because I know that's in people's heads, but I mean, that could be a horrific story. Obviously, losing your arm probably would be. So just imagine if somebody kept reminding you of like the most horrific thing that ever happened to you in your life at regular intervals, and you'd probably put it out of your mind. I mean, you know, your arm got chopped off when you were 10 in a combine harvester or something, and for certain hours a day, you could probably kind of you got used to it, you forget about it, and someone goes, oh, what happened to your arm? And it all comes back again. It's that kind of inconsiderate thing where people just aren't thinking about other people properly. It's a very strange way to behave. And this was a funny one. This is the kind of thing I would have shared. And this is one of the reasons I'm doing this video now. As I'm not putting any of these things on Twitter, and if I had, they wouldn't have been received very well, I'll talk about them here, and hopefully I can put a bit of context around them, and people won't think that I'm getting upset about these things. I'm actually just sharing some, like, oh, isn't this odd? You know, this is one. Never search for yourself on Google, but I do every now and then, just to see that no one's like posted any of my videos again, because that quite often happens. People repost my videos and pretend they're theirs and stuff, and it just annoys me. Anyway, you know, people spammers, really, you know. Anyway, this was one. There was a guy advertising a cassette deck, I think. And this was on eBay, and he says, very sorry guys, I have just obtained a US power lead and stepped down main... Oh no, that wasn't the bit, that was the boring bit. Next paragraph. I was led to believe it worked fine, but it doesn't. Feel free to retract your bids, obviously. I have asked the popular tech mode on YouTube if he could look at it and possibly repair it. Otherwise, it's sold as seen. And he did. This chap had got in touch with me. I said, could you repair my cassette recorder? I said, I don't really do repairs. I said, I'll play around with stuff of my own, but more often than not, I probably end up breaking it. So I'm just like an amateur playing about with stuff. And he wrote back and says, no, I think you could repair it. You're selling yourself, not selling yourself short, but he's really kind of angry about it. I thought he was a strange fellow. So when I did the search, I found him on eBay trying to sell a broken tape recorder. He said he'd asked me to repair. Very weird. I mean, like I say, things that most people don't have to encounter. This was one. There was some horrible forum somewhere where someone had posted a picture of me holding a CD that was out of a recent video. I can't remember which one it was, but they got that still and put next to it, how to install Gentoo in only 3 weeks, right? Some sort of joke about Linux or whatever. And then someone says here, like, who is that? And then someone says it's TechMoan, but it doesn't do anything to do with Linux. And someone says, I knew he looked familiar. F word, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to watch his content anymore since he made something this stupid. If people can't install a distro from reading its documentation, then they shouldn't be using it at all. I'd never even tried to install the thing. But suddenly this guy now hates me because of a silly picture that somebody else made. Again, funny, weird things that most people don't get to encounter. So that's all I'm trying to share with you. Now, that was a weird one. You know, when I did the video about the vinyl video thing, and then loads of people kind of jumped on this idea that it was all fake. And this guy here on the... this was on the Raspberry Pi page. They reposted the video, which was nice, because the device had a Raspberry Pi in it. And then this guy was like going all, no, it's all fake and all that. I says, no. So I went on there, I thought, no, we can't have this straight under the thing on Raspberry Pi. So I went on and said, no, it's real, it works. It's just... So you don't want to... I said, it's all just, you know, and I explained how it works and stuff. And I said, you don't want to go down this route. You'll end up in a room with tin foil on your head, loads of pictures on the wall with string between them. I said, it's just like a, you know, in your bare feet, like, and your pants. I said, it's not really the route you want to go down, this kind of conspiracy theory nut thing. And then he said, sorry, Matt, there's no way you can't get that much data from vinyl running at that speed. Same goes for... And he goes on and on about why you can't do it. And somebody else must have posted, I think I posted a follow-up video, so it says, okay, I may be wrong, but the signal's being processed digitally. I'd like to see your raw signal. You're like a real kind of won't let go of this idea that he could ever be wrong. Anyway, that's me. I just don't like conspiracy theories, because I don't think I've ever seen one that's been like proven, yes, that conspiracy theory was right. And the weird thing is, conspiracy theorist type people, the only thing they'll believe in is a conspiracy theory, which is the least likely thing to have happened. The least believable thing is the one thing they'll believe in, and the reality is the thing they won't believe in. It's completely back to front. But again, if I said that on Twitter, everyone will go psychotic on me, so can't post that. Earlier on, I was talking about Twitter and getting the odd thing through that didn't really benefit me in any way. But the problem was, when somebody sends you something on Twitter, you do feel obliged to reply to it because you don't want to look rude. But quite often the things that you get are just nonsense. But I'm not the kind of person that could really, that likes to ignore other people. If somebody's taken the time to send me something that they think is useful, and I don't want to be the person just to completely ignore that. It just makes me look ignorant. That's, again, one of the problems with being on Twitter, that as you kind of get a lot of followers, you've got a choice. Do you either ignore everyone, or do you try and answer everything that you get? Now, of course, these big celebrities with millions of followers, they're not going to answer everything that they gets posted under any of their things. Of course, they've got publicity people and stuff, so they'll post my new album's out on Monday. I'll never read what's under there, and there'll be like a million things, but I think people expect that no one's going to respond to those things. However, if I put something out and people will say something under it, they'd expect a response, and they'd think I was being a bit rude if I wasn't giving a response. At least that's what I feel anyway. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, one of the things that came in recently was, and this happened quite a lot, people would see something somewhere else that looked like it was in my wheelhouse and then tell me about it. But of course, because it's the kind of thing that was in my wheelhouse, the kind of thing that I'm interested in, I generally already know about it. So there was one case just before I left, Unbox Therapy. It's a channel I don't watch on YouTube, but I know lots of people do. I had a look earlier on, and 13 million subscribers. So yeah, seems to be perhaps the most popular kind of gadgety tech channel on YouTube, I'd imagine. Not my kind of thing. I mean, I think I might have seen one or two videos over the years, but it didn't appeal to me enough to subscribe to it. I'll tell you one thing I didn't like. I mean, I know he's obviously doing very well for himself, so he won't mind me not liking his stuff. But I never like it when you get this thing where you get a person pulling a face, obviously it's this chap, and in his right hand every time, same position, he's on the right and these are on the left, a gadget, like in this case, it's always a phone, isn't it? Everyone's always obsessed with phone. Ooh, phone. So yeah, well, a couple of laptops there, but it's the same every time. You know, surprise face, and I could do this. So you kind of go like this, you go on all your thumbnail. I mean, it just seems a bit puerile to me. But you know, as long as he's he's to be making his money, so it doesn't matter to him what I think. But yeah, every single one of them, I've got 3 pages of here, all the same. Always wearing a cap. Presume he's bald. As you can see, I'm bald, but doesn't worry me. Anyway, so that's that. So yeah, he had a video about this maglev turntable, magnetic levitation turntable. And I must have got 50 or so people getting in touch with me saying, hey, you should do a video on this magnetic levitation turntable. Now, the first thing is, I think it cost something like $3,000. But the main thing is, I knew about this back in January when it was on Indiegogo. I think a couple of people drew it to my attention at the time. I might even have seen it myself because I do go on these crowdfunding websites. Indiegogo is like the less reliable brother of Kickstarter. It's the one that takes your money at the beginning and then just burns it. But yeah, so back in January, I think I've got the thing here somewhere. I might have just thrown it away. Anyway, yeah, back in January 2018, there we go. A couple of people got in touch with me then when this went on Indiegogo, because of course when things like this go on these sites, they try and get publicity, so they'll try and get Gizmodo or Engadget or a few other websites to promote it. I get people getting in touch with me telling me about their new Kickstarter campaign for something that might be interesting to me. expected that I'm going to do some sort of video about it. That's not the kind of thing I do, but I can understand why these things end up appearing on other sites, because they do that kind of stuff. So back in January, somebody wrote to me, I think this was a couple of weeks after I'd first seen it, and he said, he said, I like your videos, etc., blah, 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 blah. Have you seen this on Indiegogo? So I wrote back to this chap at the time, said, no, unfortunately, it's everything that I don't like in a turntable, but with added levitation. By that I mean it was a manual turntable, no electronic stuff at all, just like a normal manual belt-driven turntable almost, but of course with magnetic levitation instead. And at this massive price, it just didn't appeal to me at all, and I wouldn't have bought it even if it was £200, I don't think. So yeah, that was back in January 18. Now, Roland here on Patreon got in touch with me in 26th of February and said, Matt, I wonder if you've seen this levitating turntable, looks interesting, fun, etc. So that was from Roland Bogush. I'm sorry, Roland, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Bogush. I'd imagine it's Bogush. Not bogus, but Bogush. Anyway, Roland's a patron, nice chap. So yeah, he sent me a link to that as well. That's back in February. So all these people are sort of ahead of the curve there, because then it kind of went quiet for ages, like all these crowdfunding things do. And then November comes around. Actually, it's October, isn't it? October comes around, and then I get loads of people saying, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen it? Well, if they've seen it on the YouTube's most popular gadget website, and the guy's already demonstrated it, what's left for me? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's the kind of thing that I got. It wasn't advancing anything. It was causing me a bit of anxiety, because I felt like I should respond to these people saying, yeah, that's very nice, but I'm not really interested. But that takes up a lot of time in a day. I'd rather I'd be doing other things, making videos or talking to you. Talking of turntables though, I do have a couple of turntables. You might have seen one before on here. Wheel by Miniot. Now, I'm sure everyone will get in touch with me about this. Well, they would have tried, and now I've killed Twitter. There's not that many ways to get through to me. But yeah, this is something that I backed on, I think, yeah, Kickstarter. Sent my reply to their survey 30th of March 17, a year and a half and a bit ago. And that was a couple of months, of course, after backing it. Estimated delivery, October 2017. I can't show it to you yet because it's not here, but yeah, that's the kind of thing. It looked interesting, and they're just really dragging their heels on this. Well, they'll have their reasons, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't banking on it. I get a couple of things off these websites every now and then because they look like something that I could make a video about, and that's it. This one, whether it ever will appear or not, I don't know. They keep sending updates, but it's just so slow. You kind of wonder if they're going to go bankrupt before the thing even turns up, which is quite possible with a lot of these things. Another one, Love Turntable. I got a pre-order off their website. This is back in January 18. This was $329, and it's like a kind of puck type thing that sits on a turntable and spins around. Again, thought it might be something interesting to make a video about, but whether it ever turns up or not, I just don't know. But when it does turn up, as soon as it appears, of course, the gadget websites, Engadget, Gizmodo, etc., will get an early release version, which is quite possibly going to come before mine does. So they'll make a video about it, and everyone will get in touch with me and say, hey, have you seen this? And then I'll put a video out. It looked like I'm just sort of some guy copying everyone, but I was the guy that paid for it so that the thing got made, so that they could then send it to Engadget and Gizmodo. So yeah, I've kind of got off these crowdfunding things a lot in the last couple of years. I don't have that many things outstanding now, and I doubt I'll get any more, because they don't seem to... They don't live up to the hype, and they often don't even arrive at all. I noticed Shenmue 3 that I backed, that was due out last Christmas, so it'll be about a year late if it does come out eventually. But that's the thing, software ones actually aren't that bad. I've backed a couple of Commodore 64 cartridges. Is it Galencia, Chaos Sphere, and Hunter's Moon Reloaded? I've got that around here somewhere. Oh, there we go. I haven't got it out of the box yet. But yeah, that was a cartridge for my SX64. The software ones, they deliver, because usually it's down to one or two people and they're just sitting there programming it, and they just need a bit of advance money to keep them ticking over while they're not doing their main day job and they're programming this game, and those ones are fine. So as far as Kickstarter things go, I think it's like about picking your picking your projects, not just these manufacturing based ones. I've never seen one of them go right yet. They're always a disaster. Okay, now the next thing, if you're still here, repair videos. Now I like doing the repair videos, although I've got no skills at repair, as you'll have noticed. I can barely solder something. I couldn't tell a resistor from a capacitor. Well, maybe just about, but I couldn't tell you what their values were and what that meant. So I've kind of got very little skill in this area, but I can sort of fix things if it's something obvious that's broken, and that's about as far as it goes. So that means that quite often I'll start on one of these things that I'll get and it says for parts of repair, and there's a very good chance that I won't be able to repair it. And I think I've got something here now. I'll put it in my storage locker. There was something I got that was a little stereo cassette radio device, and I got that for parts of repair. It was an unusual one, and it made this horrible squealing sound whenever I pressed play on the tape. Not a mechanical one, an electronic squeal. So I had a look and I thought, I don't know what this is. It'll be a resistor, a capacitor, something that's touching something else, something that's got not working properly. Of course, old capacitors past their useful life and things. So I took it to my electronic repair guy, and he couldn't repair it either. He says, well, I don't have a schematic for this, I don't really know how to repair it, it'll probably cost you £100 and it's not really worth £100. So that was like a dead thing that I couldn't repair. So that's now just sitting in my locker. But there's always a good possibility that when I get something I won't be able to repair it. The reason I'm mentioning this is that I kind of like to create a new type of video. You see, there's an expectation from people that when you start working on something, say I'm going to have a look at this, that at the end of the video it will work and you'll be able to demonstrate it. And I know there's lots of people out there, the 8-bit guy and lazy game reviews and people who, you know, we talk every now and then, have got projects that they've started on and the thing hasn't worked. Now, of course, when you start on them, you start filming it, you demonstrate it, you open it up, you do a lot of work. You're doing like a day's work, a couple of days' work, and then you get to that point where you can't go beyond it. It isn't going to work. You won't be able to get it working, and it's broken, and that's the end of it. Hard luck. But you can't do that video. You can't do a video where you start on something and then at the end of it you say, well, I couldn't get it working. Because people go insane. They have to have the thing working at the end. There's a narrative that people expect. A lot of people go on about the fact, oh, I don't watch television anymore, I just watch YouTube, television's dead to me and all this kind of stuff. But people still expect the structure of a TV show, even on YouTube. They like the guy to come on at the beginning and say, hi, this is me, this is what I'm going to do, and then they go into the thing and then they pop up. The 8-bit guy is great for this, in the order that he does things, and it sort of flows through like that. Now sometimes I'll do the videos where it's just me with my hands, I won't go on the camera because it's too complicated to set up, but people like the structure that follows a TV show. Even if they pretend they hate TV and never watch TV, they want YouTube to look like TV. So if you put out a video that says, here's the thing, I'm going to have a look at it, I might not be able to repair it, but along the way we'll have a good look inside it. It'd be intriguing to see how it's supposed to work, what it does, or what it did do back in the day. Maybe we could talk a bit about the history of it. But at the end, I can't promise I'm going to get it working, but at least we'll have gone through a bit of a journey. That's the end of it. Can't do that. So I'd love to create a kind of new genre of video, a mystery video, where you start and nobody knows how it's going to end up. And you'd think that would be a normal thing to do, but honestly, the backlash, say I did a twin tape Walkman, that I had to play around in it and I couldn't get it working properly at the end of the video. Well, people hated that. They wanted that Walkman to work properly. And the weird thing is, it's not working for them. They're not getting the Walkman and they can't listen to the Walkman, and it's not something that they'd ever use. Even if I got it working perfectly, I'd probably never use it again. But it's just that kind of finale hasn't happened for them in the video, and it just sends people's brains like crazy, like, how can you do a video and it isn't going to work at the end? But I'd love to be able to do more videos like that where I start on something and it might not work at the end, and people are just going to have to cope with that, because that's like a new genre, a mystery video. But anyway, that's just something I wanted to talk about. It just amuses me that there's certain things that these YouTuber people like myself and the other people I mentioned have got these projects and things that haven't worked, and they've just had to abandon them. So the viewer will never see that thing because it doesn't fit into the structure of what's expected out of a video. So instead of getting a video about a thing that you've never seen, you're not getting the video, but people will be happier with that. Anyway, moving on. Now, I wanted to talk about that Vector robot. You know, the little robot that I got that did very little. Still plugged in the lounge, sitting there doing very little. They're going to put some SDK for it in a bit, and it's supposed to do more, but how much more could it do? It's got like a scoop on the front, and it drives around on tracks. It's not going to start cooking me breakfast for me. So it was something I thought it might be more fun than it was, and it wasn't very much fun for me. But anyway, I did a video about it. I was very honest in the video, like I always am. Pointed out a few pros, a few cons. I wasn't just some sort of negative job where I was trying to sort of demolish it. I just wanted to say, you know, like, just have a good think about it, because it might not be exactly what you want, but you know, maybe it will be, you know. Now that video's done really well, because I don't know if you noticed when I put it out, I said I had to get it out quick because it turned out that the thing had arrived a couple of days earlier than expected, like pre-release. I'd pre-release ordered it. I don't think they were planning on the shipping taking as short as it did, so I ended up getting it 2 days before it was supposed to be on official release. So I ended up getting a video out 1 day before all these big tech blogs, like probably, I think, is it Linus Tech Tips? He's another one. Again, I don't follow him, but I noticed that video went out the day after mine, because it kind of shows in the associated videos type thing. And I think he's one of these ones with millions and millions of followers. But yeah, the video didn't do bad for me. It's surprising. It's one of the first videos I've done in ages that's actually made a bit of a profit. It's done about 200,000 views so far. And I think for it to make a profit, it had to go beyond about 180,000 or something. So there's a few pounds there that it's made, which is unusual. The thing cost me £280. I think the video's perhaps up to about 350 now. You know, if I take out the hours that I spent making it, maybe I'm still not making a profit if I work at minimum wage, but still it's better than I expected. So it did all right. I don't plan on reviewing any more things like that though. It's just not very interesting to me. But yeah, my video was just a very honest video from a chap that bought it. Now these other videos were from sponsored videos. Anki, the manufacturers, had sent out review demonstration models to people, and they'd even got in touch with me after I'd pre-ordered mine and said, "Oh, would you like one of our new Vector robots?" So I wrote back and said, "Oh, it's all right. I've pre-ordered one. Thanks very much." Now at that point, I could have cancelled my pre-order and taken the free one. If I'd done that, I would have got the video out later, and it probably wouldn't have made a profit, but I would have saved by not buying the device itself. But I like to buy, if at all possible, the things that I'm going to review if I'm not sure about how good they're going to be. Occasionally people have offered to send me things, and they've been things that I know are things that I'd like and people would like to see, and they can't really have anything particularly wrong with them. I've got something downstairs that got sent to me from a company the other day. I've got a previous version of it. I like it. This is the new version. I'm sure I'll like this one as well. So I said, yeah, go on, send it through. I can do a quick video on it and it'll be quite good fun. Then I can give it away to someone as a Christmas present. But yeah, this little robot, I was offered a free one. I turned it down. I did an honest video reviewing it, and these other ones are sponsored videos. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. They've put sponsored video and they've just shown the features of it, what it does, etc. But not passed on any personal judgment about it. Just sort of say, here's what it does. So mine is like the one negative video in a way that sticks out like a sore thumb. All the others are going, yeah, here's this new robot, look at it. It walks around, ooh, isn't it great? You can talk to it and stuff. Whereas mine's going, well, yeah, but it doesn't really do very much. I get a lot of negative feedback. Oh, are you so miserable about it? Complaining about it all the time. I'm just being honest. So it seems like people don't like honesty, a lot of people. They want these fluff pieces. But the funny thing is, a lot of people don't even notice that the other ones are sponsored videos, and it's not that they're being dishonest and trying to hide it. I noticed on that Linus one, it says sponsored video. Thanks for Anki for sponsoring this video. All very, you know, upfront and honest about it. But then I saw someone on a forum saying, oh, everyone's got one of these Anki robots, including Techmoan and people. And somebody said, well, eventually somebody said down below, yeah, it looks like Techmoan bought his though. But yeah, they hadn't noticed, that first person hadn't noticed, they just noticed loads of people had these, and they obviously go to probably the top rated video, and it'll say that, yeah, look, it's really cool and stuff, which of course it will be, because it's kind of an advert in a way. Just shows you how a company can control a message, you know, by flooding all the reviewers with a review copy. there's going to be nobody honest in there who's bought one for themselves and say, well, yeah, I got one, I thought it was a bit crap, because that's not what you do in one of those sponsored videos. You demonstrate the features of it and leave it there. So yeah, you can really control the message on these things. You've got to be very careful looking at these reviews when something first comes out, because a lot of them aren't reviews, they're just demonstrations on behalf of the manufacturer. Talking of which, I got an offer for a BenQ monitor. Is that how you pronounce them? BenQ? I'd imagine so. A 36-inch ultra-wide screen like this one, and HDR and Ultra HDR, I don't know, all that stuff. Worth £650, and they said, you want, we'll send it, and you don't have to send it back. I thought, oh, that's great. And I thought, no, I don't want it, because this one, the reason I've got one this size is because I can fold it away out of the way. That one doesn't have a Visa mount on the back, so I can't put it on this arm. It'd just be a big thing in the way. It's too big really for me to use, and I couldn't properly demonstrate it in a video because I don't have a gaming PC or anything. I've got pretty low power devices in here, so it wouldn't have shown up particularly well in the video. So despite the fact somebody offered me a £650 monitor that would have been pretty cool, I turned it down because I'd be doing them a disservice, and for me, I've got nowhere to put it. But I suppose if I was one of these sort of big tech blogs where I could hold it out on this side and do a silly face, then maybe I would have done a video about it. But I'm not that kind of channel. That's probably why I don't have many millions of followers that chap had. Right, so let's see if there's anything else left on my list here. We've been here a while, haven't we? Got all these pieces of paper. Let me see if there's any pictures that I didn't show you that I wanted to. No, that's it. So, oh, one thing I wanted to mention, that VHD video? Well, no, it's a AHD, that Android home device, that kind of comedy thing I put out at the end. That was off a VHD, one to demonstrate various features of the system that I managed to secure a very unusual and incredibly rare disc, which I'm going to sort of put a video around. I've got some more VHD stuff I'm trying to get hold of. There's somebody in the US I bought something from, and they're just refusing to send it to me or replying to any of my messages. So that's a bit of a problem at the moment. I say I bought it, I haven't paid them for it. I've done that thing where I've said, send me the invoice for the full amount, including the postage, and they're just not responded to that. But it's the thing I really want to be able to finish off this video so I can put all these things together and demonstrate them to you. So until that comes to pass, or I get someone selling something similar, cannot do a video on that one, but it will be coming along, and then I'll explain all about it. It's very interesting stuff. As you can see here, a lot of stuff going on at the moment. In fact, one of these, I think it's this one, I've got a new Sony PCM recorder. I say new, it's been out since 2012, and this one's second hand off Amazon. I hope it's not all knackered, because that's something that I use a lot of PCM recorder, and I wanted one with an optical input because I've got something with an optical output that I want to keep the chain digital all the way through and put it onto into a file. So this seemed like the ideal thing to get. So I'm often getting things sort of behind the scenes that don't really make it into the videos but cost quite a bit of money, and that did as well, although it was about half price of a new one. So that's it. That's all I've got to show for the moment. I'll come back and do another one of these when I've got a few things stacked up. Like I say, I'm using this like as an alternative to Twitter and things in a way. If I think of a few interesting things, I'll jot them down, I'll put them on a list, and then every now and then put out a video and we'll just have a good chat about them. But that's it for the moment. So as always, thanks for watching.